I am on the Ring of Kerry, and I'm here because years ago a man said to me, if you ever get a chance to go to the Ring of Kerry, you should go and see a man named Florian about a car. I said, Florian? What car? He said, trust me, go make a video with Florian, it'll be worth it. And you know what? He was right.
This is where all the prep stuff work happens. Now, because we're closed now, it's all a bit of cramped, but yeah, here we're working at the moment in a Porsche. It's called the Widowmaker because the turbo comes in at about 3,000 revs, and it's a surprise. You drive around the corner or something, you press the accelerator, and you do this one.
Oh, I see.
That's why it's called the Widowmaker. This is then for our body work here. There's the spray boot, there's a car ready there now for paint.
Oh my God.
That's an Alfa Romeo.
So this is not a hobby, this is a business.
This is a business, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What we're doing at the moment is we're hiring out cars, for weddings and doing the Ring of Kerry and, the White Atlantic Way. She is probably one of the cars that will fall into that category. Because it's a 4-seater, convertible, you do the Ring of Kerry, that's what you want to have.
All right. And it's so ideal for Instagram.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Where are you originally from?
Germany.
Germany?
Yeah. I arrived in Ireland on the 15th of November 81, 40 years ago.
And why did you come here? What brought you here?
My parents bought the railway station here in Glenby, and I'm a cabinet maker by trade.
Okay.
So they asked me to come over for a year. Nearly finished.
And what was it like? What age were you then when you came over?
22. Yeah.
What was Ireland like then for you to come to?
I think the inflation rate was 27%.
Yeah.
It was an experience. But what I found is, as a 22-year-old, you come into a different country, and all of a sudden you look at everything different.
Yeah.
I started a coffee shop in 82 in Killorglin.
Wow.
And turned that into a restaurant then.
Because there was no coffee shops here in 82.
There wasn't no coffee shops, there was no, the European thing wasn't here yet.
And was this not very quiet for a 22-year-old?
Absolutely. It was a culture shock.
What did you do on a Saturday night?
Yeah, I can tell you stories about that.
Tell us.
I was brought down to Carsavine, the day out or the night out. So that started with going into some hotel and then afterwards into the dance hall. No alcohol, right? And the girls were sitting all on one side and the boys were standing on the other side of the dance floor. And as the night progresses, the boys moved over. And then at the end, they were all standing in front of the girls and, waiting to pick one up for a dance and things like that. It was a bit of a culture shock, yes.
In 1981?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Did
Yes.
you get a girl?
I'm married to her.
Oh, did you? Do you have a prejudice for German cars?
No, English.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
You see, I grew up and there were Mercedes, BMWs and Porsche. But every time a Jag was passing, everybody was turning around and looking. And it's still that way.
Yeah.
If you're in Berlin and an XJ6 is passing, everybody looks.
Yeah.
This is the main garage here, right?
Okay.
For example, this is a TR2. That came to us in boxes. The owner put it into storage about 30 years ago and left for America, and then he came back and brought us the car in boxes.
How did you get from a coffee shop and a restaurant to cars?
I started woodwork, right?
Okay.
I made furniture and kitchens and things like that. And then one time in 1993, I had a German friend who kind of convinced me to go into renewable energy. So we developed wind farms in Ireland and in America and part of the continent as well. And we did that until 2004. And then we basically sold the contents of our company. I took out the offices and started parking cars in there because I already had a kind of a collection of cars. And my son was in Australia, and he came back in 2010. And sure, there was no jobs here. So we said, look, let's start. Let's work on the cars that we have and see, can we make a business out of it. Now we have people employed with bigger garages, and we are still looking for staff.
Oh yeah?
Yes, we could employ another 4 or 5 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And orders coming in from around Ireland, and
We have a store with 15 cars that need full restoration.
okay.
Customers waiting for us to do it.
And why don't they go somewhere else?
We got a reputation of doing the right job, and that's why they like to come to us.
What's the wrong job?
We don't take shortcuts. We always say the car is more important than the customer.
I bet you they don't like to hear that.
Well, yes and no, because it's more important for us to have the car right?
Okay.
Every customer is jumping up and down and saying, I want my car, I want my car, I want my car. They're not getting the car until it's right, So,
But that also means that they don't know how much it's going to cost.
yes, we can only give an estimate. Because in this job, it's just... Can you imagine now you taking an engine apart and you shear one bolt, right? So a job that would have to take 3 minutes, all of a sudden takes 4 hours.
Okay.
Or you take off a head and you see that the head is completely porous.
Right.
All of a sudden, that's $2,500 to get the head work done. So it's yeah.
What happens if they run out of money halfway through?
Hasn't happened so far.
Are your mother and father still here?
No, both
Okay.
passed.
But did they stay here until the end?
Yeah,
Did they?
did, yeah.
God, how did they pick Ireland?
Do you know, my mother saw an ad in Frankfurt paper or something like that, guest house for sale, and the price beside it. You couldn't buy a car in Germany for that, So they came over for a look. We came over in 1980 in holidays to have a look at a few properties, and they picked here Glenbeigh, the railway station.
Right. That was a move for them, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I must admire my mother because she was in the 50s when she did it.
But then if all the children were grown up.
No, she brought 2 daughters with her,
Oh, right.
and they went to school here and everything. Yeah.
Right. And they went to the dances and stood on one side of the...
Well, yeah, they
I
were
hadn't
sitting
finished
down.
by the-
I was standing.
Do you do the weddings? Do you drive?
Not anymore.
I imagine that must be one of the most stressful jobs.
It's the
driving.
most boring job.
Oh, boring.
Absolutely, because they're going to the church, you're standing outside the church for an hour, and then they're coming back, and the photographer wants you to do this, that, and the other.
Okay.
So you're spending 4 hours basically just hanging around.
Okay. And are people not very nervous and anxious and uptight and...
No,
No.
it's amazing.
Oh, great.
They're all relaxed. I haven't seen an uptight groom or a bride yet.
Oh,
Relaxed.
that's
Unbelievable.
brilliant. Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you'd have people freaking in the back of the car.
No, absolutely not.
Did you ever get anyone to say, turn around, I don't want to go ahead with
No, I'm always saying that right to the church, left to the airport. Which one? That's a 1936 Bentley Derby 3.5 liter. Bought new by Reverend Simpson for £2,500.
Wow.
Now, in 1936, you could buy a decent house for about £400.
So where did Reverend Simpson get his money?
That's what is, you see, church collection you got.
Yeah.
Beside that, we have the Austin Healey 3000, which is a BG7, 1964. Very popular for the car hire. Everybody wants to have that.
Yeah.
3 liter straight six.
I presume there's no power steering for that.
No, no.
So you're pulling the arms out of your shoulders when
Yes,
you're
the
driving.
power steering is what you had for breakfast.
Did you ever want to design a car yourself?
We're at it.
Oh yeah. Cool. What is this?
We're at the beginning, right? So we're working on the setup of the driving gear, right?
Okay.
And the shape of that, after that is, we're working on it.
What kind of engine will it have?
We're undecided, but probably something like a BMW engine or something like that.
Oh, combustion engine.
Yeah.
And what is this going to have? You're going to design the shape of it as well.
Yeah. Yes.
And have you a template, or will you just?
Nothing yet. We're working on all of that. Yeah.
Okay. So will you buy a chassis from somebody, or?
No, make it.
Wow. That's great.
Yes.
Do you want to be buried in a car?
My son always says that would be an awful waste on a car.
So when you're going down the shops, what do you drive?
Whatever starts.